there, my name is Heather Feather. I am the owner of Rare Bird Medicine, and today we're talking about Meta or Metaphysician. Meta is the rebrand on Instagram and Facebook coming together. Adventure to guess there may be other companies in there or companies on the horizon that they want to purchase, as there's this attempt to, in the modern age, commodify your attention. Your attention's been commodified like a battery, like the Matrix. Your attention is the most precious commodity of the present hour because your attention is the thing that will decide to purchase or not. And so we don't have to make it some major evil thing, but it's always been this way where if we can get them to consume, we can do that through advertising. We can do that through keeping them on social media pages and advertising on those pages. If we can keep them on the social media pages longer, we can get them to click on more advertisements. And we can get them to purchase more. It is a capitalist system. That all makes sense. However, one of the things that keeping your attention preoccupied as your attention, your most precious commodity, is commodified, one of the things that occurs is it is a surrender of your free will choice to activate in other ways of your life. It is also an outward focus, engaging with a phone, a tablet, a laptop, a TV. All of those things are outward practices. There have been many masters that have walked the earth, and pretty universally, those masters will tell you to go within. I was watching on YouTube the other day a channel called Esoterica, really cool guy that studies Kabbalah, mystical Judaism. He also studies the Gnostic principles. I call that OG Christianity. But, and so he was talking about the Gnostic Gospels of Mary. And Yeshua ben Joseph, Jesus the Christed one, would have counsel with his disciples, but he sometimes would take individual counsel with Mary. And she was clearly somebody that he well trusted with his teachings. Of course, she, later was slandered in a lot of ways because of that. But in the Gnostic Gospels of Mary, there's this kind of Q&A session that Mary had written that occurred after Jesus had arisen, and there was a private session he even had with her after that. And he basically was saying, go within. He's saying what all the masters say, go within. Don't make the outer world your temple, your God. Remember the inner temple. Remember the spirit that resides within. Know thyself by knowing thy spirit. And so this teaching is even present. It seems like it might be only present in more Eastern or mystical teachings, but it's present in Western teachings as well. To go within, to be with thyself in thy temple. Metaphysician, my mother was a metaphysician. I share that piece because she always said Jesus was her master teacher. But she said there are many masters, and I agree. I have many master teachers, teach their own. But she was a metaphysician, and she raised me with freedom of religion. Meta means beyond. Physician means physical, the physical world, beyond the physical world. A metaphysician is studying that which is beyond the physical world. Instagram and Facebook's rebrand is they're going beyond. They're going beyond grabbing your attention. They're straight up garnering it all day long. Fun. So I'm using these tools. You're using these tools right now. We're doing that to have this interaction. I use them, and they are effective tools, but they're simply a tool. You know what I mean? I'm not going to carry a hammer around in my pocket all the time just in case I find a nail, because it would be uncomfortable. And that's the thing in the modern age many people don't see. It's like carrying a hammer around in your pocket all the time or dragging a bowling ball everywhere with you. That's what it's like to be chained to your phone and to have your attention mired in your phone. As a metaphysician, the question I'm asking you is, how much do you want to meta? And how much would you like to metaphysician? How much would you like to go beyond the outward physical realm of form that is constantly grabbing your attention? Constantly grabbing your attention. I study many different religious and spiritual texts, and I find them all to have value. And that's just my perspective on it. And it helps me to create a wild, diverse group of friends that I love with different philosophies that I can hear and people that I can receive right where they are. And I love it. I love to speak globally the languages of that which is our connection to our spirit. And There is a piece in here in which pretty universally we're given a key that there's more within the kingdom if we will but use the key. In Christianity too, they say, it's easier for a rich man to get through the eye of a needle than it is to get into the kingdom of heaven. Now, what does that mean? Does that mean like Jesus is like, don't be rich? Ew. No, if we really marinate on that statement, being rich is accumulating the outer world only for the individual self and hoarding our accumulations of the outer world for the self and minimizing that which is available. There's only so much money that is produced for others, right? So it gets into win-lose dynamic. It gets into predator-prey dynamic. It gets into scarcity and proliferation dynamic. And so what that is saying is, if you're going to be in the outer world of form, be aware of how to give away. He would say, don't just give your outer jacket to someone, give the inner raiment as well. Don't just give your outer raiment, give your inner. If somebody asks you for a coat, basically, give them your coat and your shirt. So he was talking about being generous of spirit, generosity, givingness, It's frustrating because in the modern age, there's a lot of vilification of the masters. And I do believe Jesus was one of them. And it's because so many false teachers have spoken their words. So many false teachers, so many poison teachers have ruined, absolutely ruined what they were saying. And instead they taught fear, and they've taught hell, and they've taught sin, and they've taught all this garbage about you not loving yourself. And so many have turned away from their spiritual foundation, from the metaphysical, from that which is beyond the physical, because they're like, I don't have any proof and I don't care. And it's like, I always say, you don't have any proof of love. You don't have any proof of forgiveness. Where is forgiveness? Put it in a beaker. Tell me its weight. Tell me its locality at every hour of now. Forgiveness doesn't stand a scientific test. There are content of character qualities, and I believe spirit and I believe divinity to be one of those, that they're otherworldly. They're different frequency. They don't fit within the Newtonian mechanistic physics science. They might fit into quantum mechanics. We seem to be building a bridge. But there are aspects of this that are unique. So I think if you're, the best way to be a knower is to be like a scientist. That's what I love about metaphysics. My mom, the School of Metaphysics, every metaphysician I've ever engaged with, every metaphysical teaching I've ever touched, it says, don't take my word for it. It's not like preaching from a pulpit, I am the authority and come to me to know God. It's saying, you're the authority. Don't take my word for it. You don't think there's a spirit? You don't think you have a divine quintessence that put, sacred geometry in the whole design or Fibonacci sequence and things? Okay, meditate. Go within. Get to know yourself. Experience astral travel. Experiment like a scientist. See if you can find something beyond the physical realm. Some of the things that are beyond the physical realm are the mind, not the brain, the mind. Are, these content of character pieces, of forgiveness, of compassion, of devotion, and, these things that we develop as entities through the suffering that we do. All two-legged suffer. No suffering is superior. Suffering is unpleasant. However, suffering is a gift. And the challenge is, as a light of truth entity that has not incarnated into your flesh costume, before you come in, you go, I'm going to go down there. Ooh, and I'm going to evolve myself on the topic of forgiveness. So I'm going to have you, I want you to betray me, and then I'll go down and I'll learn how to forgive you. And, I'm going to be hungry, so I can have compassion for those that are hungry. I don't want you to put a silver spoon in my mouth and feed me every second of now. I'm going to know what it is to almost starve. And then I'm going to have compassion for my brethren around me that are starving, that are hungry. I'm going to know more through experience what it means. And I'll have more empathy, and I'll develop these inner content of character qualities that stand the test of times, the character content that I'll take with me beyond the grave, unlike the baubles, the coins, the BMWs, the Gucci purses, whatever it is, all these labels that people want to sheeple and not be an individuated self about what it is they like. Instead of liking objects, we can learn to like things that develop the self. We can be metaphysical. We can go beyond the physical. We can practice yoga, tai chi, qigong, any of these practices that develop not just the physical body, but also the mind, also the heart and the feelings, also how we process stress, how we process anxiety. So the question I ask myself, because I use Meta, I'm using it right now for Rare Bird Medicine to bring you this message. You use Meta for whatever you use it for because you're getting this message, or you're on YouTube. I'm a big fan of YouTube because you can learn how to build and do things and make a difference in your life there. I do Qigong on YouTube. I do, Yoki, YOQI, and I do bird yoga. And I love it. I'm so glad that that's available as a tool. But it is a tool. It's like a hammer in my pocket. Let me use it when I'm trying to put a nail on a board. So there's this question I'm asking myself all the time that I just wanted to discuss with you and see if you're asking. How much do you want to meta? How much do you want to be commodified? How much do you want to be plugged into the matrix? How much do you want to be like, you know what, just plug me in and you make all the decisions and I don't want to use my free will choice? I get it. Free will choice can be a bit of a burden. And one of the ways that humans often use their free will choice is to self-destruct. One of the largest ways a two-legged will let spirit know that it has free will is it will do all kinds of drugs and alcohol and self-destructive things because there's no greater way that you can say I have free will than for you to freely choose to drag yourself closer to the grave. Grave coming. Grave coming. Death gonna touch your shoulder. It's on its way. Congratulations. You can use your free will to drag yourself closer to it. Who's gonna stop you? Not divinity, because it loves you enough to give you free will in the first place. So, and it's not threatened because it knows you're eternal, because it knows it is you. So it's like, go ahead and make your goofy choices. You know what I mean? But so we can also use our free will to develop the self, to evolve the self. As a metaphysician, I have a ton of books. I love my books. I love that so much of this content lives in me. Granted, I haven't finished most of them, but a lot of this content lives within me. And I'm able to share it, I love what I'm able to come to know by looking upon that which I do not see. Our eyes are fallible measure systems anyhow. Is it a lady? Is it a vase? It is, they have all these optical illusions we can look at where our eyes are like, hey, I'm not the best measuring tool actually. So maybe what I see is not the quintessence of what can be. Perhaps there could be a divinity, and perhaps that is a thing or an essence that is beyond this sight. Perhaps it goes to a third eye, a different type of looking. And to each their own. I'm not here to change your mind. You want to be atheist or agnostic for 1,000 lifetimes? Go ahead. It's inevitable you're going to come back to yourself, and you are spirit. You are the light of spirit. You're the light of truth. You're the light of love. You can run from yourself through drugs and alcohol. I've done it. You can run from yourself through avoiding God. You can run from yourself, but you're still, ultimately, all of us are going to go home. And what is home? The light of love. There are shamans that have taken Madre Ayahuasca for 60 days, and their conclusion is everything is energy and energy is love. And that's how I've always defined God. Love, light, and energy. That's what God is, right? So to me. So you're going to get home. The question is, on the process of evolution and on the process of coming home, how much do you want to be in a free will choice state about what you're placing your attention on? Would you like to fly a kite? Would you like to exercise? Would you like to ride a bike? Would you like to learn the tarot? Would you like to study Wicca? Do you want to know, how to work with an axe? It's like there are all these things other than meta that you can be doing. You can be going beyond even the physical realm as a metaphysician. You can study the mind. You can study your heart. You can teach and learn modalities to develop and quell anxiety, overwhelm, stress, which is at an all-time high. People are depressed. So my question today is, are you willing to take a moment right after this video to look at how much time you spend, not to flog yourself, on Instagram, Facebook, on Meta platforms, and then ask yourself, do I want any of this time back to study that which is beyond the outer physical realm? You can always subscribe to Rare Bird Medicine on YouTube, like and comment there. I'd love to hear your thoughts. I'm one.